Hello everyone, welcome to today's special lecture. As you can see in the title of the lecture that today's agenda is to look at how to utilize our next 3 days. Why these 3 days? Why is the next 3-day factor important? Because in another 3 days you are going to sit for the first round, that is phase 1 of RBI grade B exam, and this phase 1 is very important, as you know, because all your preparation for your phase 2, the enormous amount of knowledge that you have gathered for economics, management, finance would be of no use if we are not able to clear this phase 1 exam. So it becomes so much important for us to be well directed, well ordered in our mind while we go for phase 1 exam, and leave no stone unturned so that we clear the phase 1 with flying colors and then go with vengeance for phase 2. Okay, right? So that's why these 3 days are very important, and that is today's agenda. So let's look at what are the pointers that we would be looking at in today's agenda. First pointer is what should be our targeted cutoff. Now this has been a query that has come again and again to us in various forums from various students, that sir, what should we target as our cutoff? And the concern is genuine, because RBI for the last 3-4 years, if you look at the cutoffs, it has always been changing. We'll talk about that, and then I'll also answer that query of yours, that what should be our targeted cutoff. And the next agenda, the next pointer in the agenda, the most important pointer of today's agenda is what to do in these last 3 days. In that, there will be 3 aspects that we will be looking at. First, what should we do for general awareness? Okay, how do I maximize my score in general awareness? What can we do in the next 3 days that would help me in general awareness? Second, how do we maximize our scores in the non-general awareness portion? Right. So the quant, the reasoning, the English portion, what can we do? What are the things that are there in our hands in these 3 days so that we can maximize our score in that particular section also? And finally, what to do and what not to do, in a miscellaneous manner. What are the things that I shouldn't be doing in these 3 days? How do I handle my stress, the stress that is building up, thinking that, oh my God, the first stage is already there, the phase 1 is already here knocking on the door. So what are the things that we should do, we should not do, so that our time is utilized in the best possible manner and we get the maximum benefit out of that time. Right? Okay. So these are the 3 points in our agenda with respect to last 3 days agenda. Okay. So let's first start off with the query of yours, the query that relates to the targeted cutoff. First we will have an understanding of it, and then we'll move on to the last 3 days agenda. Okay. Chalo. Let's look at the 4 years, 2019, 18, 17, 16, 4 years cutoff. Look at this. If you see 2016, the cutoff was for general, let's look at the general cutoff, 98.5 marks. Okay, right. 2017, the cutoff for general was 78, came down from 98.5 to 78. Then in 2018, it again went up to 105.75, and in the last year's 2019, that is cutoff, it went up to 122, one of the highest, right? Okay, and you can see in the last 4 years also it was the highest. Okay, and I can understand the concern of yours that this coming down, going up, this leaves a bad aftertaste in your mouth. You start thinking, what do we do? How much do we score? What score is safe? Right? So when you look at the graph of cutoff, look at this, 98.5 2016, 78 curves down to 78 2017, and then goes up to 105 in 2018, and then goes up to 122. Now, my dear friends, please understand, this cutoff signifies two things. There are two things that affects the cutoff. One is the level of question paper, right? And the next is the level of competition. Both. Normally, people think that it is only the question paper that determines the cutoff. No, it is both question paper and the level of competition. So, if there are more people, the cutoff normally tends to be higher. If there are easier questions, then the cutoff tends to be higher. If there are challenging questions, the cutoff tends to be lower. Now, there is nothing bad or good about a high or a low cutoff, but what is important for you to understand is that in a particular paper, if it is difficult for you, it is difficult for everyone. If you are prepared well enough, then if it is difficult for you, it is difficult for everyone. If it is easy for you, it's easy for everyone. Alright, and this cutoff trend shows one thing very clearly. We do not have a safe bankable score. And I would tell you why you shouldn't be putting a target in your mind. Let's say you put a target of 140. Okay, let's say, I'm giving an example. And because 140 is a very safe score, because you would be clearing all the cutoffs of last 4 years. But the paper comes to be unnaturally difficult. And there we see that 80 to 90 would have been a good cutoff after the paper gets over. But because you have made a 140 in your mind as the score that you should attain, anything that is below it or much below it would give you jitters and would worsen your feeling inside the paper, ending up in demotivating you inside the paper only. Because when you are through 2 sections and you see you are only able to do 50 questions, okay, you would be of the mindset that, oh my God, I would never be able to reach that 140. And then you get demotivated, and maybe this 50 was a good score in that. And you would not end up getting another 50, which would have been a saleable score. Getting my point? So, having a too high cutoff is dangerous. Similarly, having a too less cutoff in your mind, targeted cutoff too less, is also dangerous. That's so basic common sense that if you put 80 as your cutoff and the paper comes to be easy, if the paper is of this level, you have done your 80 marks and you are happy and you go for a dose inside the paper. My 80 marks have been done. I would get more than 80 in this. Why to do more? Right? You would say that no one would do that. But the problem is that when our mind achieves our target, it behaves in a very peculiar way. It's not in our control. It would feel happy, and that happiness, it would be careless in the upcoming questions. And when it is careless in the upcoming questions, the accuracy would falter. The accuracy would falter, the score that you could have got, your potential, that you would not reach. Okay, right? So, a too less a target is also a problem, a too higher target is also a problem. So, what do we do? Now, here comes the solution. What does that mean for us? How do we therefore handle this situation? We saw that the cutoff is something that we cannot be sure about, because every year it changes based on the level of the paper, based on the number of competitors, that those who are attempting the paper. So, cutoff first of all varies. We saw that. So, there is one caution that I would give you, and that is very simple. Don't go with a fixed score in mind. Never go with a fixed score in mind, my dear friends. And the second one is, do whatever you can. Do your best. Maximize your score. If in that particular paper you are not able to do anything more, then you have already attempted your best. Whatever the cutoff, you are not able to do more, so it doesn't make any sense to attempt anything and get more negative marks from there. Right? Okay, so do your best, maximize your score. How to do that, how to improve your chances of maximizing your score, we will talk, we'll discuss it in a moment, but that should be your target. Got my point? Right? So that was the first point in our agenda. What about the targeted cutoff? So we saw we would not keep a fixed cutoff in our mind. We will do whatever we can. We will do our best. We will maximize our scores. Clear? Sure. Now we will move on to the paper structure. Before moving on to our 3-point agenda, what to do in GA, what to do in non-GA question sections, and what to do for our stress, let's look at the paper structure. The paper is like this. General awareness, you get 80 questions, 80 marks, and you have 25 minutes to do it. Every section has sectional time limit, and therefore it makes sense that they would give sectional cutoffs too. Reasoning 60 questions, 60 marks, 45 minutes. English language 30 questions, 30 marks, 25 minutes. Quantitative aptitude 30 questions, 30 marks, 25 minutes. Total 120 minutes, 200 question, 200 marks. Each question has 1 mark, and in negative it has 0.25. Okay, right? So this is the structure. Now our first issue was what to do for GA. What to do for GA. Now first of all, now here we would be helping you a lot. Don't worry about that, because see, in the last 3 days, if I ask you to organize material and get material from different sources and revise, that would be so hectic for you, especially in a topic like general awareness, where you have so much to do. And there comes the lectures that we have planned for you. Yes, my friends, Samir sir starting today would have some revision lectures for you. He has planned some revision lectures for you which would cover most of the important stuff regarding GA in a succinct manner, in a summarized form. Okay, so attend all those revision lectures. Your general awareness part would be more than covered on that. Plus, apart from that, what you should do, revise from the notes that you have made, your self-made notes, if there are any, or from the mocks that you have taken or you are going to take. So in every mock you get around 80 questions. So those 80 questions, if you have taken 5-7 mocks, so there will be around 500 to 600 questions, different questions. Those questions revise from there. So attend all the revision lectures, Samir sir, starting today, and revise from your notes and mocks. Clear? Okay? So that's what you need to do for general awareness. See, only this and you are set for general awareness, because you see, general awareness is 80 marks, 40% of the score, 40% of the paper. So if you can do a maximization of score in here, it definitely helps you to push your score considerably, right? Okay, so it has been seen that people have even scored 70 out of 80 here. So definitely, let's say if last year people have scored 65 to 70 in this paper, then they needed to score only 50 to 60 in the rest of the paper, right? Which is definitely doable. But then if they had scored 30 here, then it would be very difficult. It would be a tall task to score 90 out of 120 here. Not impossible, nowhere it is impossible. But obviously a good score here would definitely help you here too, on the overall score too. Okay, right? Now let's go to the issue 2. Issue 2 was how to maximize score in non-GA sections. So which are the non-GA sections? Reasoning, English language, quantitative aptitude. So reasoning is 50% of the rest, that is apart from GA, and 25% is English language. So non-GA, 50% is reasoning, 25% English language, 25% quantitative aptitude. So how do we deal with this? Now here comes what I have intended for you to be done in the next 3 days, what I think you should do in the next 3 days, so that you are well directed, well organized when you approach to the exam and you take the paper, right? Please understand this, my friend. If we look at this phase 1, a lot of people with enough time, more than 120 minutes obviously, with a lot of time, would be able to do the whole paper. Maybe only the knowledge based question of general awareness that they do not know. Apart from that, they would be able to do all the 120 question here and then another 50-60 question of general awareness. So the point is not how much you can do. Anyone is capable, anyone who has prepared well is capable of getting a 160 to 170 in this paper, or 160 to 170 attempts in this paper. But what is the problem? The problem is, yes, time. Limitation of time is a factor that impedes your ability, that constrains your ability, and you are not able to attempt those questions which you could have done easily, and you end up doing those questions which you shouldn't have picked up. So all these wrong decisions inside the paper, why do they happen? Because you are in a time limited setting, right? Okay, now you would say that this is a disadvantage, but my friends, this is the only advantage that you have, because your competitor who is equally capable but cannot manage his or her time well would be lagging behind you. Whereas you, if you can learn the art of time management and control your time well, then you would, you do amazing in the paper, right? Now, how do we do that? What are the things that we can ensure that we do in the next 3 days, that the capability gets developed in us? The first thing that you need to do for that is building a paper strategy. Do not go ahead and start attempting from the first question. Rather, give 2 minutes to every section, every non-GS section, that is 2 minutes to every non-GS section, 2 to 3 minutes, okay, to go through the paper and identify and analyze the skeleton of the paper. What do I mean by skeleton of the paper? How many questions and what type of questions are there? You don't need to read the questions, my dear friend. You just need to identify the nature of the question. Okay, question number 1, time, speed, distance, or arithmetic question. Question number 2, arithmetic question. Okay, in broad groups. So let's say question number 1 to 5, fill in the blanks question. Question number 7 to 10, puzzle question. Okay, so in these broad groups, the groups have to be made according to your understanding of that paper, your level of learning in that paper, obviously. And how do I make or prioritize that? I would come to it. But then you will have to have a skeleton of the paper ready in your mind, or you might also jot it down in the rough sheet. 1 to 5, fill in the blanks, and 6 to 10, vocab. Okay, then 10 to 25, 2 RCs. Okay, like this. In reasoning, let's say 1 to 5. I'm just giving you an example. Obviously, it would not be question number 1 to 5. It would be something else. Let's say question number 1 to 5, syllogism question. Then question number 6 to 10, calendar clock questions. Okay, question number 11 to 15, floor puzzle. Okay, so stuff like this. And then in quant, question number 1 to 5, let's say arithmetic questions. Question number 6, 7, algebra question. Question number 8 to 10, geometry questions. So whatever broad groups you have identified for yourself, have a skeleton of that particular section ready in front of you in your rough sheet in that 2 to 3 minutes. These two sections would be done within 2 minutes because there are only 30 questions. So you'll just glance through it. This might take a little more time, 4 minutes. It might take around 4 minutes. Okay, right? So essentially you are investing first 2 to 3 minutes of this 25 minutes to have an understanding of the nature of the paper that has been given to you in all these sections, Now, once you have that understanding, obviously, this would happen in each section. So once you have that understanding of that particular section, what do you do? What is the next step? The next step is to prioritize your attempt order. On what basis you should prioritize your attempt order? Let me give you a formula for that. Attempt it, because this is based on my years of research and training with students if you are able to identify these categories and plan your paper in this way, this would help you a lot. Now, what are those? First priority. First priority are those questions which you would attempt first. The first priority, in first priority, you should choose those questions where your speed is high and you have high and medium accuracy. Now, what do we mean by speed high and accuracy high? I will tell you. Speed, this is the table of speed, this is the table of accuracy. This is high, medium, low. If in English and quant, in both of this, in both logic I am coming, in English and quant, if your speed is 30 to 45 seconds per question, then it is high speed. 45 seconds to 1 minute per question, medium speed. Obviously, less than 30 would obviously come in high speed. Okay, more than 1 minute in a question, then low speed. Okay. In reasoning you'll have to be a little tight on yourself, because see, first of all, the reasoning questions are very easy. Okay, there will be syllogism, calendar questions. I'm not talking about the group questions. Group question you would obviously take time. Okay, but the individual questions are can be done within, some of them can be done within 10 to 15 seconds also. So anything that can be done within 20 to 30 seconds is high, 30 to 45 seconds is medium, and more than 45 seconds is low speed in reasoning. Got it? Okay, so in reasoning the counter would be a little different. Achha, what is accuracy? High accuracy, more than 80%. If you attempt 10 questions of a nature and you get 8 on an average, 8 correct, then you have high accuracy in that particular kind of questions. Medium is 60 to 80% and less than 60% is low accuracy. I hope that none of the questions that comes normally in the paper of in your mocks and in the paper that have been coming in RBI grade B, you are in this category, because this is the category you are normally in because when you are not very sure about the concepts. And if you are in this category in some, then we will see how to handle them. Okay. Understand any new thing, anything which you learn or conceptually in reasoning, English, quantitative at this stage would be very difficult. So what you need to focus is rather to maximize your score in whatever you know up till now. Right? How do I identify? You have taken so many mocks. So from those you would have a fair amount of idea which questions take you this much time, which questions take you this much time. From that data and the feeling that you have about a kind of question, both together, not only feeling, because feeling can be misleading. Sometimes we can feel good about a particular question, but when we see the data, we see that we are very low accuracy in that particular set of questions. Okay, so data plus feeling together, you would then set up this. Okay, now understand. So high speed in every section, high speed and high and medium accuracy questions would come as first priority. Then the second priority would come medium speed but high and medium accuracy questions. Okay, medium speed, high and medium accuracy questions. Third priority would be high speed, low accuracy questions. Right? In high speed, you see I have kept low accuracy out of this picture. So in the third priority, so the third priority would take high speed, low accuracy question, and then low speed, high accuracy questions. These two, and the remaining ones in the fourth priority. I hope that most of the questions should be coming in these two categories, because if they come in this category, then capability wise you are not ready to compete. Okay, this category, if you have 20% questions, it's okay, but more than 25-30% question in this category also means that capability wise you had not given yourself the amount of training that is required in that area. So if that is the case, still you would need to strategize, because in that case, if a lot of questions come in this category, then it makes more sense that we are able to maximize our scores from these areas first. ठीक है. So what are these priorities? These priorities are very simple. Let's say in reasoning there are these 4 priorities. Now question number 1 to 5 it's let's say first priority, but question number 6 to 8 is let's say fourth priority. So I'll not do 6 to 8. Question number 7 to 10 is third priority. Then question number 11 to 18 is first priority. So I'll do 1 to 5, 11 to 18 first. Okay. So once the first priority is done, then I will choose the second priority questions. Then I would choose the third priority question, and then I'll choose the fourth priority question at the end. Why is it so? Because time is limited. And if time is limited, how would you want your time to be utilized? By attempting questions which would take more time and would give you less score, or by attempting questions which would take less time and give you more score. I suppose if you are logical about it, you would choose this. And with this attempting order, you are automatically ensuring that this happens. Why? Because high speed, high and medium accuracy would give you the most amount of scores in the least amount of time. Then in a little more time but high scores you would get in second priority. So you see, from wherever you can get more score in less time, you have put them at the start. So that even if you are not able to complete paper, let's say 50 questions you do from here and 10 questions are remaining and 45 minutes is done. But you know that these 10 questions are of these priority or of these priority, from where your ability to get very high score is limited. Very high score is limited. So that means that you would be ensuring that out of these 50, you would get the best score that was possible for you. Getting my point? Right? So build a paper strategy in which I am already helping you by giving you the roadmap by which you can create your own strategy. Obviously, it would be different for different people in terms of everyone's high speed questions would not be the same and everyone's high accuracy questions would not be the same. And there comes the beauty of it, because then you would be able to build your paper according to build your paper strategy according to your strengths and weaknesses. Okay? Next, execute this strategy in mock. In the next 3 days, starting from today, you should be taking 3 mocks and executing this strategy. Now, how do you execute this strategy? By attempting the mock in these order and then analyze the mock. Now, why analysis? Analysis is important because sometimes, as I told you, that I think that this is my first priority and I end up saying that, oh no, this is my third priority, and that would come when you analyze the paper. Okay, right. Some question you might have kept in the third priority, thinking that you are not good at them, but you realize later on when you analyze the paper, oh my god, these are the kind of questions that I could have done very easily. Right. So these are the questions I should have attempted first. So that is why analysis is important. For a 2-hour paper, you need to invest another 2 hours to analyze the paper. Now, how to analyze the paper? Very simple. Take the mock and attempt the questions that you have got wrong or you have not been able to attempt inside the mock. In these 3 mocks that you would take, they should be within time limits. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, these 3 mocks, you should give 120 minutes and take these mocks. Okay. After 120 minutes, you score yourself. Once you have scored yourself, you see these are the questions that you could, you couldn't do. Attempt them again, and the questions that you got wrong, attempt them again. This would take around 1.5 hour or so. And while attempting, if you are not able to do it, look at the solution and see what is the solution. From that, you can gain understanding that you are doing some careless mistake or you are not looking at the right set of data. Okay, right. And this would build up your understanding also. These 3 mock analysis would build up your understanding or enhance your ability to build a better strategy in the next paper. So in today's paper, if you do an analysis, in tomorrow's paper, you would build a better strategy. In tomorrow's paper, when you do an analysis, in day after tomorrow's paper, you will build a better strategy. Okay, right. So this is the way you would orient yourself. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now, this, if you need to have a little more idea, you can also refer to our analysis lecture that we did last year for one of the mocks of Olive Board. So you do not need to attempt that mock. That mock is anyways not present now because that was last year mock. You just look at the way we have approached the quant and English section. In quant and English section, we have approached Samit sir had approached the quant section and I had approached the English section, and showed in that particular lecture how to maximize your score in that. Okay, that would give you also some amount of idea how you need to do it. Okay, I'll put the link of that lecture in the pinned comment as well as the description section. So this is what you need to do for maximizing the score in non-GA section. For GA section, you need to attend the Samir sir's lectures that are coming, and you need to revise from your own notes or mocks. Now, in the non-GA section, doing this is something that is important, but side by side, you'll also need to keep these things in your mind. First, give time to go through the paper and fix an order of attempt that we already talked about, strategy of the paper, 2 to 3 minutes, right, for every section. Read instructions carefully before attempting question. Now, this is very important. We jump to the question without reading the instruction. Don't do that. How many times students have come and say, sir, we did not see that the question asked which is not correct, and we ended up marking which is correct. Okay. Don't do such kind of silly mistakes. Next, be ready to leave questions if time is overshooting, even if you are good at those questions. Now, this is very important. What did I tell you? If you have assumed that this is a medium speed question and you can do it in 45 seconds to 1 minute, and you have already taken 1 minute and you have not understood it clearly, and it seems that you would take another 30 minutes to solve, leave that question and move ahead. Leave that question. Okay. Once you have gone through the question and understood the question, if you feel that cracking it is going to take more time than what is necessary, leave that question for later on. Mark it for review or come back later on. Don't attempt that question, attempt the next one and see whether you can do it. Okay? The final piece of advice I have for this 3 sections, my dear friends, please do not get emotionally involved with the questions. This is so disheartening when I see good students getting into an ego fight with the question and ending up messing up their whole paper. Do not get to ego fight with the questions. Just attempt the question, leave the questions. If you are able to attempt within time limit, attempt it. If not, leave it. That's it. Take it? So if you remember these 4 things and do this, you would enhance your capability of maximizing your score in the non-GA sections of the paper considerably. Take it? Right? Now, the last thing in our today's agenda is how to handle stress. First of all, you see, a lot of you, owing to the changes that have happened in the phase 2 syllabus, is very much concerned with how would you be clearing those new areas, and you are studying a lot on those areas. I can understand, but from today, stop doing that. For the next 3 days, you would not study anything related to phase 2. Come back to phase 2 preparation on Saturday night, right? Okay, not now. Because see, when you do a lot of stuff now, when you overburden with yourself, and especially when you are in front of the exam, 3 days to the exam, when you overburden yourself, what would happen? If you're doing things which can be done away with at this moment, then you would give yourself a bit of respite that you seriously need, because you need a calm mind, a logical mind, a sensefulness, a judgment, a thoughtfulness while attempting phase 1, and that will not come if you burden yourself with things which are not necessary at this point. Okay? Second thing, take an easy mock without analysis. Do not do an analysis. On Friday, take an easy mock. See the mock in which the cutoff is highest. take that mock. Okay? If you don't want to take on a mock on Friday, it's okay. Do light revision on Friday, but don't do a lot of stuff on Friday. Okay? If there is a GA session of ours coming, just attend that and do some light revision. That's okay. Third, take care of your physical as well as mental health. This is very important, my dear friends. For the next 3 days, limit your study time. Do the things that I have asked you, and apart from that, you do not need to do anything extra. One mock analysis and GA revisions. Bas. Right? If you have done your preparation sincerely, you are more than ready to go for the exam. In these 3 days, you would not learn something extraordinary that is going to give you a score which which you cannot get now. Okay, right? So whatever needs to be done has been discussed in this lecture. Just follow that. Okay? And in these next 3 days, take care of your diet and your exercise. Yes, my dear friend, that's very important. We tend to ignore it. You see, in the next 3 days, if you take care of your diet and your exercises, what would happen is that you would be mentally and physically all set on the day of the paper. And this is for every paper. For every major paper, you should be orienting yourself in that way. Okay? So if you're physically, you're well fed, you are well rested, well rested all these 3 days, then the chances are that you take better decisions inside the paper, rather than if you are not well rested, you are ill fed, ill rested, then you'd mess up the paper heavily. Right? Okay? And understand, a little bit of stress is always good, but do not increase the stress to a level that it hampers your productivity. And how would you ensure that it does not? Doing these 3 things, and another 4th very important thing, and that is enjoying the paper. Inside the paper, do not think about that, boss, if I do not clear the paper, what would happen? What would happen if I do not clear the phase 1? I have done so much for phase 2. What would happen if I am not able to do these questions? No. Don't think about that. Rather, try to follow your strategy. Congratulate yourself when you are doing a question. Leave a question. Get into the groove of the game. Enjoy the game rather than thinking about the results. Right? Inside the paper, enjoy the paper, and make it a habit from this mock. Today's mock, tomorrow's mock, day after tomorrow's mock, whatever mock you are taking, from that only make it a habit. Because if you make it a habit, then in the exam you also would do that. So enjoy the paper, then what would happen? The stress would be minimized. Okay, it would be to that extent where your performance would be enhanced and not deteriorated due to that stress. But if you think unnecessary things such as what would happen if you don't clear this paper, you could not do this question, you have done this question so many times, still you did not do this question, what a stupid boy or a girl you are. If these kind of unnecessary things come to your mind, shun them immediately. Okay? So that's how you handle your stress. Let's now summarize. What are the things that you need to do? So we have discussed all the pointers. So now let's summarize and follow them to the T, so that on the day of the exam, we crack the exam with confidence. First, cutoff varies. So give your best. Don't worry about the cutoff. Second, general awareness. For that, you attend all the GA lectures of Samir sir that he is going to deliver in the upcoming days starting today. And take mocks. In the mocks also you would encounter GA. Third, how to maximize scores of non-GA sections. Build a paper strategy, then execute it while taking mock and analyze after taking mock. Fourth, no more phase 2 from now. Take an easy mock without analysis or do light revision on last day, that is Friday. And finally, take care of your physical as well as mental health. If you do these 5 things, if you keep in mind these 5 things, you are going to do amazingly well. You would be able to give your best, because that's what is important, your best, okay, in the upcoming phase 1 exam. With the hope that all of you rise and shine in this exam, I'll take your leave today. Hope this lecture helps you in collecting your thoughts and relieving a little bit of stress that you are in. Thank you very much and all the best.